This one's gonna be special. We're going back through the rest of the box. I say the rest of the box, we'll get through what we can. Actually, we're not even going through the box. I'm gonna start again. So, I wanted to film another episode of this for a very specific reason, because I remembered something very specific in this box over the past couple of days. The first video I made of these unboxings, I explained that my stuff went into storage for a very, very long time after I moved out of my mum's house, because I was moving from spare room to spare room for different family members, and I didn't have the space to bring most of my belongings with me, whether they were present at the time, present belongings, or just stuff I'd held on to since my childhood. But yeah, most of it was flimsy cardboard boxes and fell apart, and when I pulled it out and I got it into this new flat, I basically fucking hazmat suited up, right? I put on as many gloves and coats as possible and then emptied everything out on my balcony so that if there were any spiders left in there, they weren't getting all over my fucking house. I've had a spider nest pop on my window before, not this window, but a window. It's not fun, it's creepy. I did find spiders. Luckily, they were all dead because it was like November and they had cold blood. I don't know how spiders work. Even though I actually have a certificate in this box for researching a spider, which is very relevant to that because I was homeschooled from like age 14 onwards, and the network I went onto to actually help me get schooled at home was so shit that they just gave you a certificate for absolutely anything. I got one for making egg on toast. I got one for making a character in RuneScape. I'd say it was brilliant, but effectively, in the end, it did detriment me, educationally and mentally. This, what we're going to look at today, was inside one of these plastic boxes, and it's kind of a box in itself. So everything in there has been preserved quite well, I would imagine. But I found this as well. I think it's relevant, because I think it has to do with the same kind of stuff we're going to find in this box. In the last episode, we went back to college. That was about 7 to 9 years ago for me, and looked at sort of the ideas and the style of creation I was coming up with at the time. We're gonna go even further back, I believe, and it's gonna be relevant to drawing and stuff. And this is a good sort of primer, I think, for it. So I think this was about age 10, but I can't remember specifically when I did this. But I think every kid did this at some point, and that thing was create your own animal. And a lot of the times when you create your own animal as a kid, what you really just do is take parts from other animals and mash them together. I think Ricky Gervais did a whole bit about it on the Ricky Gervais show. But let me explain it a little bit to you, because you're staring at the name and you've not even been listening to me. You're trying to decipher what the hell is goddamn enigma going on at the top of the thing here is. This is the Laya Gorilla Bahogaroo. I remember very specifically it's the Laya Gorilla Bahogaroo. Some people say it's the Laya Gorilla Bahogaroo, and I say no, good sir, it's the Laya Gorilla Bahogaroo. So you got the lion's tail, which is the Lio. Gorilla, that's self-explanatory. The arms of the gorilla, clearly. It can use that muscle power, and opposable thumbs. Sound like I'm teaching kids to read. But the bat is the bat, which is bat wings, which I've drawn terribly. I couldn't draw wings as a kid. Not only that, they're completely useless. Those are too small to actually help this thing take flight. The hog, bahog, is to do with the head. It's a hedgehog's head. I couldn't really draw a hedgehog, so it kind of just looks like a mouse. But it has the spikes for a throw, which I think would help with survival as well. And then at the end, a roo. The body is that of a kangaroo, and the legs too. And I like the design of this. I like at least the way it's drawn. I think it's a nice, cute thing. Maybe it couldn't be kangaroo sized, maybe dog sized. Then the wings might work a bit better, because at the size of a kangaroo, this thing would just have way too much body mass to be lifted into the air. Its wings would have to be outstanding, enormously sized. This is the main feature we came to see today. This thing is so rusty, and that's not a case of rain, I don't think, because like I said, it was kept in a plastic box. I think it's just sheerly from age and exposure to air. But you couldn't, I don't think the camera captures it very well, You couldn't believe how rusty this thing is. And if you've ever seen one of these before or you had one as a kid, you'll know that upon release, when we got them, they were shimmering, silvery. I'll just go ahead and show it. I'm not quite sure where to begin explaining this. As I've stated before, I think, one of the big things I used to do as a kid was collect magazines. Magazine subscriptions. And a lot of the time, if they were like a collectible magazine, they'd come with something you could, like an actual toy or a trinket or something, every second or third issue that you could then collect. And obviously with you collecting things, they'd give you something to store those things in like issue 2 or 1 nearly every time. I also had a Doctor Who trading card collection, and they gave you this little TARDIS card holder. It was big, but it was really cool. And pretty much any magazine collection that did a collectible run kind of thing did this. They had like a holder for it. I collected the Jackie Chan Adventures magazine, which was the very first magazine collection I ever got as a kid. I can't even begin to tell you how old I was when this thing started. And the collection thing that they sent you to keep your things in was this tin. And what they gave you, if you've ever seen the show, to collect was talismans. In the show, there are these magic talismans based off the 12 animals of the zodiac, and each one gives you a different power. Sorry, I think I've been holding it a little low. You can see around the center there, you can actually see the icons, the images representing each animal from the zodiac. It's a great show. It's actually, I started this channel to do animated film and television show reviews, so obviously I'm quite into animated stuff. I can tell you that Jackie Chan Adventures is still my favorite animated television series of all time. Give it a watch. It was still my favorite. And I love the magazines as well. I hope I still have some around somewhere. If not in this box, somewhere else. I may have thrown most of my magazines away or lost them, unfortunately. So I don't think I actually have the issues left. I would take this to school, I would take this to my friend's house, and I would take it places because it is where I kept all my blank papers and all my old drawings and stuff to draw on. It's my childhood drawings. These may be the oldest things I own. It's very rusted, but I'm pretty sure I can wean it open. There we go. I'm sorry if it's hitting the mic. There we go. Okay, I'll put this on my coffee table. I drew all the time as a kid. All the time as a kid, like I said, daily. And it's a fool's errand to believe I can go through this entire thing and systematically talk about every drawing in it. So while I'm gonna go through them and look at them, I'll just pick a select few to stop and talk about. And I'm gonna, hand on my heart, be quite open and honest and say I'm gonna have to be very selective with what I talk about, because a lot of these depict certain subjects and times that I kind of don't want to talk about out loud, just because it puts certain names and things. So I would draw my friends, and I'd draw me and my friends, and it's just sort of a topic I don't want to get too detailed with. This, oh my god, this is quite cringy. I'm sorry if a lot of it is me being silent while I assess what the fuck I'm looking at. This is, and I know what this is a 9-panel comic depicting the first scene of the story of Puss in Boots. So you got the farmer dies, his 3 sons, one of them gets the farm, one of them gets the horse, and one of them gets the fucking cat. And the cat tells them to take him to town, they go to the shoemaker, and he tells the shoemaker to make him some boots. Because I had on DVD from a newspaper where I got most of my DVDs, I had a copy of a animated Puss in Boots thing, and me and my friend loved it. It was weird, and I think I still have it. I would love to watch it. Maybe that'll be my next Gavinmation when I finally decide to fucking make another one. Oh my god. Oh my god, I remember this. A lot of the time as a kid, I would go on the websites for channels like CBBC and Cartoon Network because they had amazing fucking games. I actually still sometimes as backing music use the music for a game called Cartoon Summer Resort, which was a free website game for Cartoon Network, and it fucking rocked, man. I can't believe I remember this. This just like sorry. I'm so sorry that I'm not explaining myself well. But it's just that I saw it and I instantly knew what this was. I think I had or have more than one. There was on the CBBC website, Tracy Beaker was still a thing. This is before the fucking reboot, right? This is before she properly grew up and shit and then went out of it and it's all the other kids and it's called The Dumping Ground. This is True Blue Season 1, Tracy Beaker, right? Which was a great show. I loved watching it as a kid. And one of the games on the website for Tracy Beaker was you can make your own like door poster for your room telling people to stay out and stuff. So I used the door poster creator to make this monstrosity. Gavin's room, do not disturb. Trespassers will be abducted by aliens. Fucking kids, man. Unbelievable. Kids back then were so, I don't want to say innocent, but it's like some fucking 10-year-olds walked into our shop yesterday and they were rapping like, oh, bitches blood, bitches in a fucking world. And it's like, dude, when I was a kid, we were just making fucking Tracy Beaker posters, man. Just, fuck, man. Like I said, all sorts of little characters, robots and spaceships and all kinds of things. I think I just liked the idea of worlds, you know, like other worlds. Which is weird, because I was still not at an age where this world was failing me in terms of success and stimulation. When I was drawing all these, I was actually, enjoying my time. I liked lessons, actually, in school. I lived on the same streets as a lot of my friends, so I got to play out with them. I was weirdly popular, because I was like the class clown. So it's weird that I would just be like, oh, I've got to make all these characters and escape into this other world. This looks cringy. I want to talk about this. I want to embarrass myself further. This is great. I'm fucking loving this. This is I don't know what this is. This is the Take the Mate quiz. Let's get into it. This is how much of an embarrassment I am. Let's go. Every day I hate myself. Every day I hate myself. So it's like a grid thing, and it takes you to different kinds of a mate that you are. Not a mate, a mate with an 8. Let's read through it. Are you very smart? No. Do you like loud music? No. Do you have a stash of sweets? Right now? No. Are you always... I'm sorry. I put, are you always rocking out? I can't even get close enough and it's going to blur anyway. But in one of the boxes it says, are you always rocking out to loud music? But I think I recognize that it leads off from, do you like loud music? No. So I've crossed out loud and put rock. Yeah, I was really into rock music as a kid. Half the crazy mate. And half the punk rock pal. Well, wait, how are we half a punk rock pal when I said I don't even like loud music or rocking out to rock music? How do we land in... Wait, what the fuck? Wacky, crazy and funny. Everyone loves your jokes and everyone likes you because you're the glue that holds the gang together. That's the crazy mate. That sounds more like some kind of leader than crazy. And the punk pal says, you have an in-your-face attitude and don't care what anyone says about you. Everyone wants to be you and you always stick up for your friends. This is fucking cancer. I'm sick of reading this. I don't want to read that anymore. Guitar tabs. I can't play guitar. My dad bought me a guitar when I was 12, so that's probably the age that these are from. I never learnt a chord on it, or at least I didn't stick with it. I have very effeminate fingers, very thin, soft hands, so it was hard for me to develop calluses or switch from one thing to another. And I still have it. I still have the fucking guitar. I'd sell it, but I just never get round to doing it. And like I say, it's been in storage for quite some time now. I don't know if the strings get rigid and hard, and so if someone tries to play it, they'll snap. Maybe they probably need changing, but the guitar still works fine. 15 years I've had that guitar, and I can't play a single fucking note on it. Oh my god! I know what this was. This was so actually, speaking of the Jackie Chan Adventures magazine, a lot of some of the magazine issues I remember, they gave you folklore from around the world. Actually, each issue was based in a different part of the world, because in Jackie Chan Adventures they go on these globe-trotting adventures to find all these talismans. And I either drew some that I already knew about, because a couple of these look like actual things, or I just made some up. But I just wanted to explain for the reaction I had, because this is horrible. Just really upsetting. Fucking frog creature on there. Ignore the witch in the Dr. Eggman Robotnik flying machine, but look at that black-eyed frog demon. Why would I draw such a thing? Yeah, so like, my friends group as a kid was split into like two twos. There was like a duo, but then like 3 or 4 of us. So you could pair us off, but then I just did little drawings of us as a duo. I was part of a duo as well, but I won't get into that. What's this? Floor plans. Oh, this is so funny. Oh, I know what this is. These are, wait, let me try and get, oh, this is the upstairs flat and that's the downstairs shop. Okay, this was a very fleeting idea for a television show, which I think I came up with pre-college. I don't have any other written down ideas for it other than this floor plan. I just needed like to set everything out in my head. Normally, I have so many plans and ideas for stuff, but very little of it exists in files or pieces of paper, because I just remember. I remember all that shit. I mean, those superheroes I talked about in the last episode, I've been thinking about them for like, what, 10 years now? Yeah. And I have very little plans on my computer for them, actually. I keep it all in my head. It's just for escapism. And so I could picture the characters easily. I could picture the lines and the story and how it'd go, but for some reason I just needed to lay out the space in my head. And it's funny, I think this is the first and only floor plan for any idea I ever did, but it's funny because I'm in university now and I have to actually do for real floor plans. I fucking hate doing them, man. Oh, this was weird. I remember this. Oh, I remember this. Oh my god, there's so many. Oh my god. Okay, I remember why I drew this. A lot of the stuff I came up with and I drew was instigated by something I was currently into at the time. I am a very fickle person when it comes to the ideas I have and the things I'm currently into. I will even willingly admit it now. It's not a case of, oh, I was fickle. And as a kid, I've had a very energetic disposition. I actually had an overactive imagination. I got called into like headmaster's office because I got in trouble with it quite a few times. I actually had cases where I accidentally confused and blended reality from fiction. All the things I was imagining and coming up with in my head, which was scary the couple of times it happened. Don't worry, it doesn't happen now. I said that the cards I created were instigated when I went watching Lord of the Rings, and I got really into Lord of the Rings and I wanted to make my own medieval kind of thing. This was similar. This was instigated when I discovered, and this is a weird one keeping in mind that I was like 9 years old, when I discovered The Munsters, which is an old black and white television series for those that don't know, very similar to Addams Family, although I would argue that The Munsters is a lot more light-hearted and sitcom-like, but I sort of created my own similar idea. It wasn't like it was an animated thing, right? And it was different in mood to the monsters, but it was the same kind of thing where it's like a family of monsters, but I wanted to make monsters that were a bit more unique and different than just a Frankenstein's monster and a werewolf and like a witch or a vampire, you know. So I sort of semi came up with a lot of monsters. I thought of ones that were outside the box. The dad of the family was like a voodoo doll, a cushion head. Apparently his name was Sockhead. That was the dad. I'm not sure how that would have worked anatomically. He doesn't even like have fingers and stuff. His hands are pincushions. So there's a huge detriment to action within the show right there already. We've got a witch called Aurora, which I think was the mum, maybe the daughter, and then two uncles, a headless night ghost, and then a pirate ghost, Uncle Billy and Uncle Kenny. We've got a robot kid made of scrap parts called Clink, and then two twins called Sharky and Sandy, who are like goldfish. How the fuck does a witch and a voodoo doll have goldfish for kids? I'm confused. They also had, fuck me, they had pets. They had what the fuck? Some kind of spider or scorpion that is a musical note. It's a ghost can, a haunted can of soup called Snowy. I think that was an aversion to expectation things because a lot of cats, it's a very average cat name. And then a living mouse, which is just called Mouse, and I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 100% certain to the letter that I just genuinely based this off the mouse that I had at the time. I'm having a very vivid memory of a very, very red mouse. Oh my god. Oh my god. I drew furries. Some Cartoon Network characters. Ed, Ed and Eddie. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends down there. Powerpuff Girls. Cole's Name's Kid Next Door in the middle. Oh my god. And there's top right. Top left for you, sorry, I think. Hi Puffy Amiyumi. Wow. That is a show I've not thought about in a day or two. That's one of the slightly more obscure ones. I was thinking about some of the more obscure shows I used to watch as a kid. Mike, Lou and Og, which nobody in school talked about, but I really enjoyed. And there was another one I used to confuse it with on CBBC called Pit and Cantrop, which was about a boy and a pterodactyl, and nobody watched Pit and Cantrop, okay? I barely fucking caught the thing. I'll be the only person on the planet who remembers Pit and Cantrop. When I die, it's gone forever. I doubt I can find it online even. That's not true, you can find everything online, but that was one not a lot of people remember. This might be a good time to talk about this, actually. This is very dear to me. Not this piece of paper specifically, but what it depicts. This is like a life drawing picture, I think, of a bear in a little jumper. It's a very specific bear with a very specific jumper, and it's like that for a reason. It's because it's a real bear. It's the bear I had as a kid. The story goes that my sister had the bear when she was a baby, and my eldest sister, and it was her bear when she was a kid. And the story goes, when I was born, and I was a little baby, it sounds too nice to be this, but my mum told me that my sister, as like a 2 or 3 year old, gave the bear to me when I was like a newborn. But I don't think, even if they're brother and sister and there's like niceness there, I don't think a baby of that age would give up her toy so easily. I wouldn't put it past that she kindly handed her little brother a bear, and it's just a very nice story. I've So I've had this bear pretty much since I was born. I have it somewhere around here. Trying to think where I might have packed it away. One sec. Got it. God damn. Buried in the bottom of a bag somewhere. Poor bastard. There it is. Bear I've had since I was a baby. I know the jumper was not originally with the bear. I stole it off a troll doll. And I don't remember doing this, but I've since also given it a little medallion, which is off one of those lint bears you can get. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. This thing's as old as I am, older. I've never seen another one exactly like it. It's tattered as hell. The stuff, there's holes in the ears and the stuffings all come out of the ears, but they're supposed to be up like that. There's a red marble under the nose, but with red cloth on top. Wore away long ago. Before I was even 10, it wore away. That's just from overuse. The eyes, a marble all scratched. There's just gaps all over the fur where it's just the like padding or whatever the hell the bear's made of now. Here's the thing. Here's why I still have this bear. I have always intended to either give this bear to my first child when it is born, as my sister gave it to me when I was born, or if that never comes, to return it to my sister when she has her first kid, to give to her kid, or any kid. My sister has since had a child, so that ship has sailed, giving it to a firstborn. But if I ever get to the point where I'm like, it's just taking too long to wait to have my own kids, or I don't think it'll happen, I just give up and I'm like, okay, I'm not having fucking kids. My sister's got kids, they could use a bear, they could seriously use a toy if she ever has another one. They'll give it straight back. But that's why I held on to this. A little tidbit about this bear is its name. Its name is Fuzzums. So I named this bear when I was about 6 or 7. I remember the very specific day. Yeah, I had this bear for like 6 years before I actually named it. I think I was just calling it Teddy before then, because it is a fucking Teddy. I remember the very day. My mum was hoovering the living room. I was sat in the living room watching an episode of Dexter's Laboratory. Dee Dee, in the episode, Dexter's sister has a bear called Fuzzums, and she loses it, or Dexter does something to it, and she goes fucking nuts, and she loses the plot, and she just keeps reciting its name, Fuzzums, Fuzzums, Fuzzums. And because I'm impressionable, I just start fucking copying it, and I start doing it. While I'm watching the show, she's going Fuzzums, Fuzzums, Fuzzums. I'm watching it going Fuzzums, Fuzzums. And then I thought my mum would be annoyed and tell me to shut up. So she just says, you should name one of your bears that. And I just reach in and I pull this one out, and I haven't named it yet for some reason. So I just call it Fuzzums. So this bear's named after another bear in an episode of Dexter's Laboratory, which, considering how much I enjoy 90s cartoons, I think is very fitting. So yeah, I'm hanging on to this thing in case I ever get to pass it down to a child in my family that I care about, whether it's mine or not. There's a giant fucking stain on the back of this jumper. I can't begin to imagine what it is. It doesn't really smell of anything. I thought it might be gross. Although I imagine after like years and years of literally just me holding it, it just permanently smells of me now, so I'm not going to smell it, because it's just, I can't smell myself, obviously. I was watching cartoons and playing with toys. Way too old. Way too old. I stopped really playing with stuff when I was about 16, 17. That kind of thing. Which I know it's embarrassing, but that's fine, because I'm an average dead inside adult who drinks copious amounts of alcohol and swears a lot now and works in a job that he has no interest in, so yay, normal in society now. Drawings of me in different styles. I draw myself a lot because I'm a fucking narcissist. Honestly, it's just, if I can't come up with an idea and I want to draw something, I'm the nearest thing to me for inspiration, so I just drew a lot of self-portraits. But yeah, like I said, those are just in different styles. One of them at the bottom there, no one's going to recognize that. Speaking of obscure cartoons, and I will cycle around to some of these at a later time in a different video. If you ever watched the show O'Grady, I'm not talking about Paul O'Grady, I'm not talking about the Paul O'Grady show on ITV in the afternoons, I'm talking about the cartoon O'Grady. What's that? No, you haven't heard of it. No, you haven't heard of it is the correct answer. No one's heard of it. I'm the only person, again, who watched it. I was at home watching fucking... Your motherfuckers were watching the highlights, right? Mona the Vampire. All these famous ones. Nobody's out there watching Pit and Cantrop. Nobody's out there watching O'Grady. Yeah? Fuck out of here. I almost don't want to show this one because it's kind of cringy. And it says a lot about sort of the egotism of my mind as a kid. I think every child should be given the allowance to kind of think that, you know, at least, or dream where they're going to be within the future without it having to be taken so literally, though. Because, you know, kids don't really have a grasp of how the world works, so you can't really blame them for not realizing how it's actually going to be when they grow up and what's going to get in the way of what they want. It's just a picture speaks 1,000 words, and I can instantly tell what I was thinking when I drew this, and it's just fucking stupid and awful, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's me giving the finger guns next to the Hollywood sign. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be a big fucking Hollywood hotshot. Hollywood's cancer. I want to make films now, but still don't want to make them for Hollywood. Fuck Hollywood. Do not want to work for Hollywood, I'll tell you that. What's interesting though is that I've not come across a single blank page, because that was something else that was very telling in my later years. Is I'd get a book, I'd draw like 15 things and then leave half it empty, and then I'd draw like 10 things and leave 2/3 of it empty, and then I'd get a book, use 3 pages, and then let the rest of the book go to waste. It was a real testament to sort of the depletion of my motivation to draw. A lot of this in here is just random comics and things. I didn't think I drew so many comic panels, but they're quite boring to look at, and they have no context to anyone other than me and my childhood friends. So I've got one other thing that I'm going to talk about, and a little hobby of mine when I was a kid. Mine and a friend. I got a lot of my friends' versions of these in here, actually. We used to do this thing where, while we watched cartoons, we would get a piece of paper and we would draw a straight line across it. Just a straight line, that's all you'd need. And later on we'd experiment with this. Rather than just draw a line, we'd draw like a scene. And then what you do is just draw stickmen having a fight, having a war. You fill the page with little encounters going on. There's a skateboarder taking off a ninja's head. Yeah? This dragon's got a dude in his mouth. This dude's taking no shit. He's just straight up, there's no special thing there. He's just straight up pulled out a pistol and shot that ninja straight through his fucking face. A fairy zapping a dude. I believe I must have watched the Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny round about this time, because above here we have Jackie Chan about to kick Abraham Lincoln with Batman and Spider-Man overhead. That's definitely got something to do with the Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny, which I was singing at work not a week hence. There's me with, what is that? A slingshot, I think. A little ammo. Oh, it's a slingshot with grenades, because there's a little ammo dump filled with grenades next to it. I'm sorry this is difficult. I'll take better photos. And Fuzzums lay against the ammo box. Still relevant, buddy. You're still in the video. Doing okay? You're going back in the box. Like I say, there's one with television and a coffee mug covered in stickmen. Dude, that's a burning hospital. What the fuck is wrong with me? That dude's had a bad day. Nobody in this war deserves a plaque as much as this dude, because he's been shot through the dick with an arrow, right? And you can tell he's had it worse. Look at the scream on his face. Yeah, the rest are in pain, the rest are dying and bloodied, but no one has taken a bigger sacrifice than the dude shot through the dick. But I've just noticed right next to him is Frodo with the ring, like, leaned against a rock. Have you, Gandalf? But that's some of the earliest of my drawings. I think a lot of these cap at like age 6. I think that's as far back as we're going to get to go with these. I think these are the oldest things I own. And that's it. I know usually I do a big speech thing at the end of these about, you know, self-reflection, how these pertain to my life now. I guess the most relevant thing would really just be the same that I think I've said earlier about the discrepancy between drawing now and drawing back then. But something I didn't explain in that video was it's not all doom and gloom on that front personally. I didn't just stop drawing because I just ran out of inspiration to tell stories, or just because my heart wasn't creative anymore and my imagination had drained. I'd actually say it's just as active today as it's ever been. The reason I don't draw anymore is just because my method has changed and my interest has changed. I can't remember if I cut this out of one of the videos, but I said that the thing that I have now to replace drawing is editing. But it's not just editing. There's other things that I do creatively that replace my drawing and my animating and my want to make cartoons. I've been writing a book, which is almost finished. I write scripts every so often, not just for these videos. This one's clearly not scripted. So I don't feel uncreative. I feel unproductive, but I feel unproductive to my own fault, because it's usually just because I play a video game instead of working on more of these videos. But there's stuff on the horizon, hopefully for taking things like videos and extending this channel and extending my personal creative endeavors further, which should be within the near future, hopefully. So like I said, it's not all doom and gloom. 2019 and 2018 have been pretty largely developmental years for me, especially 2019. I've done a lot of firsts because, like I said, I'm a late bloomer, and there's a lot of things I did this year and hopefully will still do that most people do much earlier. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, yay, I did them, because I should have done them when I was like 18, but I was too fucking broken. So I'm still struggling and slogging through to get them done now. But there's this nice feeling that they're all happening in the same year. I went to another country for the first time. I got drunk for the first time. I'm living in my own place for the first time. And more. They don't come to me right now, but I'm constantly putting myself out there more. It's just a shame that it feels a bit more like a slog than I think it is for most people. It's always got to be this big event or this big fight that I have to fight through. That's kind of the negative thing of it, is everything feels like a fight. This is probably going to be the longest one of these I've done so far, so I just want to thank you for sticking to the end. I think we all have metaphorical memory boxes that it's fun to unbox sometimes. I can tell you that all the stuff that's in these boxes are 10% of the amount of stuff that my childhood was packed with, and I do think about it on a regular basis, nearly daily basis, and it's fun. I go back and watch some of those old shows, I listen to some of that old music, and I think about some of these old projects and hobbies that I used to have. And these videos are very fun to make. So thank you for watching. I hope they were fun to watch, or relaxing to watch, or insightful to watch, anything, whatever. I'm ending this now. I've done it like 10 times.